I've been pulled through time.
We've got to fix this, or Loki will be lost forever.
You better run!
This entire place is going to be destroyed.
Whatever we do, we're playing God.
What could we have done differently?
Just watch.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my Loki Season 2, Episode 2 trailer video. There's a bunch of Easter eggs and footage, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. We're also doing a giveaway for the Loki Blu-rays. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and just post all your predictions based on the footage. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen Episode 1 yet. Some of this footage, though, also seems like it's from other future episodes like Episode 3, maybe a little bit beyond that, too. Marvel does that with a lot of their trailers where they mix in footage from like way later episodes too. But we see Loki time-slipping to Sylvie's McDonald's in Broxton, Oklahoma, meaning that they haven't completely fixed the problem of him time-slipping. Like, they saved him at the very end of Episode 1, so it seemed like they were done, but there's all this footage of him jumping through different points in the timeline. Like, you see him later in the TVA with everything turning into spaghetti, seeming like the TVA still winds up almost being destroyed no matter what they did in Episode 1. I think this gets back to the whole concept of the title of Episode 1, Ouroboros, and time repeating itself. So even though they tried to fix things in Episode 1, we're going to keep repeating certain events. Like, Loki will keep time-slipping, seeing things from later in the season, like we'll actually see the scenes from different perspectives in future episodes. But at some point, he time-slips to the McDonald's in Broxton, Oklahoma, and that's probably how he finds out that Sylvie is hiding out there. Like, wait a minute, it's Sylvie, what's she doing here? One of the notable things here too is that Broxton, Oklahoma, where Sylvie went to, is the location of New Asgard in the comics. The fact that she traveled to Broxton, of all places in time and space she could have gone to, because she had He Who Remains Tempad, she literally could have gone anywhere in the universe in time and space, or any other universe that she wanted to. This might be just like a low-level reference to Thor, Loki always wanting to seek out home in times of need, and just a wink at this being home in the comics. New Asgard in the MCU is built on the site where Odin died. There was a monument to him during Thor Love and Thunder. It was meant to be the same Nordic town from the first Thor movie, Tonsberg, the same place where he later hid the Tesseract, implying that over the centuries, Odin just grew to love that town and kept going back there. Like that was one of his vacation homes. The reason why Thor built New Asgard in Broxton in the comics was because it was near where he was resurrected. Like, oh hey, why don't we just build home here? There's a bunch more scenes of Sylvie at that McDonald's working. I explained a little bit in my Episode 1 video why she decides to stay at the McDonald's. The whole idea is that she just thinks it's this really happy place, and it's sort of a vibe that she's never experienced growing up because she's always been on the run. All these people coming to this place to celebrate birthdays, relationships, just hang out with their friends. Like, she's never been around this kind of positive energy, so she just wants to stay around it for as long as possible. The whole joke with her not wanting to eat anything with a face would normally mean she's a vegetarian, but she also mentions she doesn't want to eat any rats or like other small creatures, which would be meat as well, so that's kind of redundant. So the face joke might be more of a literal kind of joke, like please don't literally feed me anything with an actual face on it. They also released a bunch of promos of them finding Sylvie at this McDonald's with the Rafael Casal character, but it's not clear if he's the Zaniac version of the character from the other trailers, or he's still the same Hunter X5 character from Episode 1. So this could be another variant of Hunter X5 in Sylvie's universe that she traveled to, or it could be that same character who's working for General Dox. There's still a ton of questions about those two characters. They also might have just had him here at this McDonald's for the purposes of this funny McDonald's promo because they did a bunch of McDonald's integrations before the series just to promote Loki in general. But if some of these scenes are taken from Episode 2, that would also imply that the Zaniac stuff also happens in Episode 2. Like they go back to that movie premiere to capture this Zaniac actor and bring him back to the TVA and interrogate him. There are a bunch of scenes of Loki doing that inside the TVA, the same way Mobius, the other agents, would interrogate a normal variant. Look how proud Mobius must be of Loki here, how much he's grown since Season 1. Like, the tables have turned. This was happening to Loki at the very beginning of the Loki series. Now Loki himself is doing it. This might be part of the mystery of what's going on with General Dox and Hunter X5, like something really sus is going on with those two, and that's what all the jet ski talk was in Episode 1. Like, why would they be giving him so many scenes in Episode 1? Why would he be making fun of Mobius's jet skis so much unless something weird was going on with the character?
I don't care. Why'd you ask?
The other thing, too, about those final scenes from episode 1, when Loki time slips to the future and everyone is in the middle of evacuating the TVA, the timeline seems like it's about to be destroyed on the monitor, like it's lights out for the TVA for time and space, and then everything in the trailer here is turning into spaghetti, paying off Ouroboros' joke about black holes and spaghettification. What might actually be going on when this is happening is Loki actually time slipped forward to the very end of the season, like this scene is from the end of the season, but we'll see them from different perspectives to explain more about what's actually happening in this scene. Notice when Sylvie found him in the elevator here, it's from after she returns with Loki to the TVA, the jacket she's wearing is from later episodes. So this is future Sylvie, not the Sylvie we saw in the post-credit scene. Like, that's Sylvie right after the end of the season 1 finale. Eventually Loki finds her, brings her back, she gets this jacket, and then at some later episode, she finds him in the elevator. So that moment, him getting the mystery phone call, the other third person behind them that we can't see pruning him, could have all been things in the final episode. And it's just a reference back to time repeating itself, the whole concept of Ouroboros, which is why they use that in episode 1. Maybe throughout the season, time will keep repeating itself, like Loki continues to jump forward and backwards through the timeline, so we get teasers for things in future episodes, but in the future episodes, we'll just see those moments from different perspectives that will fully explain things. The other major new scenes here seem like Victor Timely Kang during that World's Fair in 1890 Chicago. They even had some extra footage of him recently with like him clapping and being really excited working with Loki and the other characters.
Marvelous.
Making it seem like Victor Timely Kang comes back to the TVA at some point and starts helping Loki, Ouroboros, the others with that same problem of fixing the timeline and stopping his time slipping. I think the whole idea there is because he's a Kang, so they go looking for a Kang that can help them because Loki assumes he who remains is still dead. And normally they would go to him like, you're the person that created all this stuff, help us fix it. And they just need someone who designed the TVA technology, so most of the Kang variants would have some sort of idea of how to do that because a lot of their technology was shared. Like they had that whole teaser during season 1 where we had the Council of Kangs, we shared technology across universes until eventually some people just wanted to conquer the multiverse. So the idea is that Victor Timely Kang is like a helpful Kang who's willing to work with them, but most of the other Kangs are evil. This is where we get to other future episodes. I'm not sure all this Victor Timely stuff is just from episode 2. This could be from like episode 3, just because it seems like there's so much stuff going on in the trailer. What they might do in episode 2 is just focus on getting Sylvie back with all the McDonald's stuff, maybe a little bit of that Zaniac stuff, and then tease what's going on with Ravonna Renslayer so that in episode 3, we see her during that World's Fair in the 1890s. Notice that she's there where they go to find Victor Timely. Now, they're not there to find Renslayer, she just happens to be there as well for some reason. But speaking of Renslayer, there's still so many questions about what's going on with her. The message on the tape in the TVA at the beginning of the TVA's timeline makes it sound like she helped He Who Remains Kang create the TVA in the first place, like the mother of the TVA. They sort of hint at their romantic relationship in that tape, the way that he talks about her, calling her a Marvel, quote unquote, dropping a big Marvel comic book reference.
Ravonna Renslayer, you are quite a marvel. I will be proud to lead with you. You made a difference in this war. Thank you for being on my team.
In the comics, they weren't husband and wife or anything like that, but he was in love with her. They did have some kind of relationship for a period of time. So it sounds like at some point, He Who Remains Kang fell in love with her during the first Kang Multiverse War. He took her with him to the future to fight and win the war, and then they started their relationship, and after they won the war, they created the TVA together. This actually confirms a lot of the Chronopolis theories that people had in season 1. So a lot of people felt like the TVA was meant to be the MCU version of Chronopolis from the comics, which was the city that Immortus creates in the distant future to rule all of time. That's basically what He Who Remains Kang says in this message to Ravonna Renslayer in the past, like, I would be happy to rule all this with you. In the comics, eventually, Immortus leaves everything to her and then he departs, and that's kind of what He Who Remains Kang did. It sounds like they just lived for hundreds and hundreds of years ruling the TVA together until he eventually grew bored of it at some point, like many, many hundreds of years later. Then he creates the Timekeepers and he retreats to his citadel at the end of time and just lives out for the rest of time until Sylvie and Loki show up. But this explains why in present day, Renslayer didn't remember creating the TVA with He Who Remains Kang. He just wiped her memory at some point, but he still loved her apparently, because in the finale, he sent a message to her through Miss Minutes to escape. When she's on the run, she finds Victor Timely Kang, and that's how she gets caught up with the Loki characters again. There's a scene from the Piranha jet ski dealership. I think that's meant to pay off the time slipping and Mobius's talk about the jet ski. Maybe eventually we'll see him on a jet ski at some point. The key lime pie scene of them in the automat also seems like it's from episode 2. There's another scene of Sylvie talking to them in the automat. That might be after she comes back in episode 2. This scene of Loki and Sylvie combining their powers to take out the other TVA guards in the building might be from a later episode too. I'm assuming these TVA guards that they're fighting are General Dox's guards that we saw going with her in episode 1 that are trying to capture Sylvie. There are a lot of theories about her being the mother of Hunter X5, and that's why she was treating him so weirdly. Like he was acting almost like a puppy standing beside her, and she treated him like a mother would treat a son. But the whole thing is that in the TVA, you're not supposed to have relationships like that. Normally, they would prune someone like that. If you had a child, they would prune him. Just more evidence that she's not exactly who she says she is. It also seems like at some point in episode 2, they travel back to He Who Remains Citadel at the end of time in the episode just to see what happened. General Dox teased that too, like we need to go to the end of time to find Sylvie and find out what really happened. So based on the footage, just post all your theories about what goes down in episode 2. Some of this, like I said, might be from episode 3 though. My full episode 2 video will post next week after they release it. There's supposed to be a couple other big trailers for upcoming Marvel movies soon, and they just confirmed that they've already cast the new Fantastic Four movie, but they're waiting till after the actor strike is done to announce who that cast is. I've done a couple Fantastic Four videos because we learned about a few members of the cast. Click here to learn about them, and click here for my full Loki episode 1 video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.